In many ways, the metaverse is theoretical. Science fiction, fantasy, fiction. Snow Crash, Ready Player One, Ernest Cline's Oasis, ontologically anthropocentric sensory immersive simulation. And we are years away from the things we read in novels. We are decades away from true holodeck development. We are decades away from experiencing our favorite films that immerse us into what virtual reality could possibly be. But today, as expressed, today where we find ourselves in the time of virtual worlds. Look, we've become more virtual in the past year and a half than we have the past 10. We have now been ushered into a new time of digital exploration, telepresence, communication, and great opportunity. Virtual development is not about entertainment and gaming, if you will. At the heart of each virtual world, 2D, 3D experience, at the heart of each virtual world is community. Communities that will acquiesce to your brand. Communities that will support and share your story. Your fans, your audience, engagement. A place where people congregate and meet, hack and code and develop and showcase and flex. And the runway is yours. A place where people train and educate, learn, listen, meditate, reflect. Where digital ownership can be solidified by way of the blockchain, meaning that you can create something as an artist, you can purchase something as a consumer, and in that experience of itself, you can solidify that on a ledger where everyone knows this thing here, this is mine. These digital Prada heels, mine. You see these new Jordans I just went to go buy at Foot Locker that came with this virtual NFT collector's card? And I come here online and I get it minted on Ethereum. And now these particular shoes, they're limited batch, and I get a pair digitally. Your virtual homes, your virtual spaces, places where you entertain. Did you know that you can create a virtual theater and sell actual tickets for crypto assets or dollars, euro, yen, pounds, francs? And you can sell tickets to your venue. And you don't have to be limited by audience size, so long as you can afford the bandwidth. That one professor where she's giving a great lecture on human genetics in Costa Rica, where hundreds of thousands globally can attend that 1 hour session with that professor at the self-same time. Where that same professor can have a dedicated AI agent that looks just like her give her lecture in her stead when she's sleeping or teaching locally, in person. We're not heading into a new world. We are in a new world. But we must make sure that we absolutely get this right, brands, companies, media, that the metaverse is singular. It's not plural. It's not metaverses. Not the platforms we see today. They're metaversal, meaning many, that are contributing to this one pie. The metaverse is singular. The metaverse is one. Why does this matter? Because everyone gets to contribute to this pie. But if we don't get the ingredients right, we don't know which pie that we're baking. And at some point, we need to meet with a colloquial understanding of ingress into the metaverse, egress out of the metaverse, how it flows and functions, operates internally, externally, physically, virtually, as one. The metaverse is in our minds. It's what will make it. We know what it is today, and we have a sense on what we want it to be tomorrow and what we're building for today for tomorrow. But the metaverse, at the very heart of it, the very heart of each and every metaversal platform, is community. New immersive spaces, unlike the world has ever seen, will be created, and humans will spend the majority of their time from living rooms, sofas, kitchens, and bedrooms inside these immersive installations. The universal active construct. The singular universal construct in which all digital realms, spaces, and lands abide in. It's in relation, thus, which leads us to the metaverse in colloquial understanding. Except the general consensus has not been colloquial at all within the extended reality industry itself, yet. Thus, one of the reasons for this presentation. We must have a proper balance of understanding if we are going to understand and to succeed in better directions. So now there's a global movement being conducted to build digital dwellings for the greater human population to buy, sell, meet, and build in the present. This is called the universal contributed construct, and one of the important reasons we are all assembled here today. So, no fluff, just stuff. Accurate and well-curated information to hopefully help guide and equip you to go a little further. We only have a little time together today. Thank you for joining me. I'm happy to spend this time with you. The metaverse is a congregation of physical and virtual environments that hope to one day connect as one. There is no such thing as multiple metaverses, nor is there such a thing as proto-metaverses, proto meaning first. If we were to talk about the nexus beginnings of the actual metaverse, the beginnings of the metaverse itself does not derive from digital at all. It derives natively from intelligentsia. What is commonly mistaken to be the metaverse, or what we see in markets today in consumer enterprise verticals that begin with what we call virtual worlds. Virtual worlds are not new to technology. Virtual worlds have been in existence for decades. Within the metaverse are virtual worlds, galaxies, and universes. A virtual world construct is a single or multi-world platform. A virtual galaxy is a multi-solar system platform. A virtual universe is a multi-galactic system. The majority of virtual environments that you presently see today on the market are commonly referred to as virtual worlds. These aren't metaverses, but rather systems that abide and make up collectively the metaverse, which is singular. There aren't multi-metaverses. Virtual worlds are commonly interacted and used for entertainment and gaming. There are virtual worlds such as World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, Fortnite, Roblox, Decentraland, Second Life, and many more. As time has gone on in the virtual world, infrastructure and character development has changed in its aesthetic realism. What are commonly called avatars have now reached levels of visual fidelity that the user association of created avatars now takes on more of the imaginative identity of the user itself. We are only years away from the creation of express one-to-one full-body region twin identity in virtual environments. There are many compelling software programs that come close, but none reach true human factor fidelity standards today. With compelling facial rigging software of greater accessibility having just landed within the past year, Unreal Engine's MetaHumans is undoubtedly leading the genesis of this grand transformation of imagery standards of what could be. Unity is not too far behind. We are presently seeing the increased discussion of the metaverse and virtual world creations for more than a few reasons. One, the more power that consumers find themselves with means the better hardware and software capability that's being produced. It affords us opportunities to create the type of interactive environmental technology that's been written in screenplays, novels, and latent inside imaginations. We've also been privy to one of the greatest disruptions of technology we've ever known. Now, commonly, as we know, technology every day is disrupting itself, meaning good technology is being superseded by great technology, and that one day this great technology will also be superseded. This is a process that we commonly build and contribute to daily. However, never in our time of this size and magnitude of proportion have we found ourselves, each person on planet Earth, impacted by a new disruption in our present time: a global pandemic. COVID-19 has ushered us into hardware dependency unlike anything we've ever had before in our daily communications. Accelerated telepresence and telecommunications for work, ideation, development refinement, product delivery, business-to-business and peer-to-peer virtual communication is unarguably at its highest it's ever been. We've been enrolled into the largest case study that's ever been conducted, and everyone had to fill out the questionnaire. Now, what's happened are platforms like Google Hangouts, Zoom, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Apple's FaceTime, Altspace, and many others have become more relevant in the past year than the entire time of their life from inception. And with this, we've come to find that businesses, academic institutions, and peer-to-peer communication can not only greatly adapt to the changing ways of this world, but it can also thrive, grow, and excel at unimaginable new heights. With this new information and the dawning of this understanding globally, Platforms, brands, companies, enterprises, and academia are all looking for ways to continue to interact in virtual constructs, with even greater risk of urgency. Which brings us to our present frenzied moment, the Metaverse. Some people believe they are waiting to see the Metaverse, and some people believe that they are independently building the Metaverse in their own version and interpretation. But what's really actually happening is that the Metaverse is already being developed, exercised, and naturalized collectively in a very early form we call the Internet. The Metaverse is singular and circular. That be likened unto a pie. Right now, ingredients to this pie are on the kitchen counter. However, there are still more ingredients that we know that we need and ones that we are unaware of in order to succeed with the development and the making and the baking of this pie. There are a great number of things that must happen in order for the Metaverse to truly be what it can be, what it might become. But at the very best, minimally, for the next 10 years, the Metaverse will be commonly seen and better appreciated and recognized through the expansion of virtual worlds, galaxies, and universes of many platforms. In today's present time of procedural generation and exploration, there are already technically thousands of virtual worlds around us. Though in full virtual reality, there are only a few virtual worlds. What would the Metaverse be without an economic engine? Part of this engine is the necessary textbook exchange of goods and services between supplier and merchant, merchants and consumers. Metaverse sustainability cannot financially thrive alone on virtual video game, architecture, and artistic assets. Instead, the heavy side of economic reliability falls in the laps of brands. Many major brands have already tossed their hat in the ring and are taking the giant leap into virtual world ownership and property acquisitions solely and expressly for visibility purposes. Major brands will not solely present themselves exclusively on a single platform. Now, given the amount of worlds that are to launch, the competition for community membership will be stout for years to come. Brands still have to look at how much traffic each world enjoys in order for them to commit market presence. Niche-specific worlds will find victories sooner than vanilla environments. Community identification will be greater in dynamic campaign deployment offerings, and full virtual constructs will cost much less than print or film. For years now, big and small brands have spent billions of dollars living in our social media feeds, browsers, and search engines, searching for audiences based on metadata and input information. We are now heading in the direction of mass virtual world marketing as a potential leader in what will most likely be the most accurate targeted campaigns marketing has ever seen contemporary to our time. The more worlds, the more communities, the more culture. With culture comes greater buy-in of discovery of audiences. For decades, entire brands have failed simply for a lack of perceived audience identification and have been met with fail data that suggests they simply did not have the market fuel to press forward. With more ownership of metaversal communities, the easier it would be for brands to not only detect the targets they are honing in on, but provides tremendous acceleration for refinement of consumer audiences. With the arrival of the internet for enterprise use, the cycles of business began to accelerate. Access to goods, greater distribution channels of commodities and assets, customer service assistance, consumer review sites, social media, communication platforms, and more have dramatically increased the amount of given productivity within a 24-hour time frame globally. Many virtual world platforms have opted for singular world existences, while some care to have galactic settings. Now, we have hundreds of new virtual world platforms that believe that they are individually creating the actual one metaverse. They are not creating the actual singular metaverse. They are only contributing to the metaverse. And many of them don't actually realize this. How do we know? Their marketing completely reflects this all. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important for a number of reasons. Firstly, one of the most important reasons is that we all have an understanding that's similar and colloquial, that there's been an opportunity presented to us that everyone gets to contribute if they so wish and are afforded with the capability to do such in building the singular metaverse. The opportunity to contribute to this one singular pie. And within this pie, you'll find education, gaming, training protocols, and programs that are much more interconnected and readily accessible globally. What you'll find in this pie are whole company organizations, public and private sectors, that are congregating and operating in these virtual spaces of building, buying, selling, trading, and distributing. With digital twins technology, we'll be able to duplicate physically standard working environments and expand atop these tangible foundations with augmented interfaces, hyper-realistic environments across the machine-readable earthen landscape, and to be able to travel in virtual places that are almost indiscernible to their physical counterparts. The full realism experience will be almost indiscernible to the human eye and mind of understanding of what's real and what is not. Doctor's visits, concerts, digital replications of what we see, taste, touch, and hear evermore will change how we interact with our day-to-day dealings. Within the metaversal pie, we'll be able to purchase items in one of many virtual settings, and these purchased virtual assets go wherever we go between shared and open environments that grant permission for our items to travel with us. The visual foundation of these metaversal spaces and settings are made presently in 2- and 3-dimensional designs. You can interact with it on your phones, desktops, laptops, tablets, headsets, and more. Today's metaversal structures will connect globally from our living rooms, offices, and third workspaces. We'll come to find that we have available essentially environments where people buy, sell, and trade for business, and that will have NPCs or intelligent agents, better to know as the actual smart assistant that is in your phone, will one day operate as your smart agent within a metaversal space. And this agent will conduct business on your behalf, even while you sleep. There will be times where you could take a lunch break from your remote meeting, teleport to a premium virtual marketplace, head into a virtual restaurant, retrieve the menu, walk within this virtual eatery, open the menu, and order a pan of vegan lasagna, and within minutes, an actual knock on your real front door will reveal a drone or robotic food delivery within 30 minutes of your order. Autonomously, you now have your expressed lunch. In this particular case, your lasagna came from a shared kitchen that had presence within your virtual environment. One day you might go buy a pair of Michael Jordan sneakers or Prada heels, both limited batches. And with this fine purchase, you'll get your own unique code asset and then be able to download your virtual pair of shoes that stays with you. They go where you go. Today's virtual worlds are siloed from one another. They are separated and owned by individual companies, startups, and nonprofits that are working hard to create spaces for us to congregate within. There are many that we know of and many that are building today. But tomorrow there will be thousands. Some of these worlds are made by the very developers and designers that manage and operate within them. Some worlds have user kits available for you to easily / not so easily and very turnkey learn how to build your own venue within the metaversal platform. Now, please consider that there's so much more and such a deeper level that we can go in on this discussion. But we only have so much time together today. So, what is the metaverse? The metaverse is collectively whatever is in our minds that in time will define itself.